Interesting times. Persistent fuel prices. Some people said again. For some people said we're on the march again.
Is it still on the march again? Are we?
That's what they said.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for just yesterday, some people that I was talking with were saying, what's the assurance we have that we won't have this another 2-3 weeks from now?
Probably. But you know, we were hearing some, you know, as they say in Yoruba, labele, that it all has to do with fuel price. But we don't know what the truth is. But we have a panel here today. You know, we have been facing persistent fuel shortages since President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of subsidies on the 29th of May of last year. Fuel scarcity is a pressing issue in Nigeria, with long queues at petrol stations and disruptions to daily life becoming all too common. While the root causes of this problem are complex and multifaceted, citizens have a pivotal role to play in finding solutions and addressing the challenges at hand. Now, let's discuss this with our panel this morning. We have in the studio Dr. Opeifa, Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access to Development. And if you recall, he was on that committee that worked on that Apapa gridlock. Good morning, Dr. Opeifa.
Good morning.
Please, pardon my giggling. We are also joined by a chartered accountant, Dr. Adeoye, who is not with us in the studio today. He normally is with us, but he's joining us virtually from London this morning. Good morning, Dr. Adeoye.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here again today.
Good. Permit me to start with Dr. Opeifa. Doctor.
Good morning.
You know you are one of them. So do you have any inside information as to why we have this situation?
Well, before you answer that one, how did you get fuel?
Fuel. I queue up for the fuel and I paid the normal price.
Okay, for how long?
I refused. As at yesterday, it has reduced to like 45 minutes. We got at 6:10 for 45 minutes yesterday. 2 days ago, we got, no, 3 days ago, we got at 6:10, same station for 2 hours. And this morning, in what do you call it? Let me say Ipaja area, I saw the queue, mostly, like you said, tricycles and downfall vehicles. And I don't think on that queue, in that remote area, one of the Ipman kind of station, there are no more than 50 and they are selling. And also, yesterday afternoon, on Admiralty, they were selling and the queue was not much. That's the Adova. AP, the AP, yeah.
Oh, the AP this morning was...
No, that was yesterday.
This morning it blocked the road.
The
queue was miles.
And that's another issue for discussion, the blocking of the road. So in Abuja on Friday, I saw a long queue, but oddly. No, even though Jerry Khan was filling at one point, the long queue of vehicles was just one straight line and they were...
Just moving.
The expense, I think it was a 6, you know, that's Abuja now. 670 or so. That was on my way to the airport.
Well, someone said he bought in Lagos at a particular, whatever fuels, whether it was a fuel station or whatever, something in the region of 900 to a litre.
It depends on...
Maybe it's black market.
Maybe black market. Those are issues for better education and discussion.
Okay, but so, answer her question. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Exactly.
Okay, before I answer what I believe we are dealing with, I will use the topic of today, which I think you actually captured it very succinct, by calling it persistent. Yeah. I was worried initially. Why the word persistent? Since May 29, this is the first time after May 29. Forget about the one that happened immediately, subsidy is gone. That was natural. And that lasted for about 5 days. The moment the price was liberalized, people pull off the queue. Then the next one started about March. We started seeing persist. But when I look at the word persistent, it actually captured it rightly. Persistent is saying that I'm a process and system person. It's saying that you have a process that continuously survives despite adversity. So what we're saying is that despite challenges in the petroleum downstream sector, Nigeria had consistently had these situations, and we have found a way to always manage it. And what are the challenges? The challenges are obvious, and they are going away. One, inadequate refining capacity. We are importing. But in the next few months, you have Dangote maybe till December, assuming that's the worst case scenario, to produce petrol. You have 5 modular refineries with 227,000 barrels per day capacity. You have Kaduna refinery. Let me land. We have Kaduna refinery coming up. So you have those challenges. Then you also have inadequate distribution system. That's what they are referring to as the logistics side of it. The pipeline network, over 4,000 or so, built when the former president was military president, has been damaged, vandalized. So you don't move petrol by truck. I mean, the long distance, the mile to mile way by truck. You don't even move them by train. PMS. You are supposed to move them by your pipeline network. We do have pipeline network, but vandalized. Then we have inadequate or aging infrastructure. All our depots are down, except the Lagos depot, the Ogara depot in Delta, then the Calabar depot in Cross River or so. So when you have all these challenges, what has government done? What has Nigeria done? Don't let me say government. You have the PIA, you have the refineries coming up, you have the rehabilitation of government refinery, you have NNPC talking about reworking on the network system. So whether we like it or not, we are gradually getting out of this phase.
That's the challenge, Dr. Opeifa. But let me
now come to what is currently. What is my view?
We'll come to. I mean,
maybe I should just tell you what I see is the issue.
Okay.
What I see is the issue is this is not the first time on this issue, and Nigerians need to. We need to look at things the way it happens. The NNPC, who has the responsibility for energy security in this country, came out and said they have logistics challenge. Wait, what they did not do is to tell us what is the logistics challenge.
Let me ask Dr. Adeoye, perhaps, he has, because speaking from an experiential perspective, sometimes it sounds like, people don't even know what they're talking about. But you've listened to
before you call
we'll come back to you.
Let me just advise. Let me just advise. Let's take emotions out.
We'll come back to you.
Let him advise us.
Let us just take emotions out now. Let's face the issue.
It will be difficult to take emotions out.
Okay. Let's see.
Because people are queuing for
take emotions out.
I agree with you. I'm saying for us to really, for me to be able to communicate to the public.
It is communication that has been missing. We'll come back to it. Dr. Adeoye, what do you make to be going on? Particularly, I mean, you've seen the comment from the NNPC and a number of other people who have spoken, Ipman, Petro, all giving all kinds of opinions about the issue. What do you see as a real issue on ground here?
Okay, many people do not know that the challenge we have in Nigeria is not because of petroleum products that is not available. It is because the alternatives are not available. For example, you think that people looking for fuel around are those who want to put in their cars. No, actually, most people do not have electricity. They need to power to watch television, to put on their fans, MSME, they need this. So it's a complex situation. And like I used to say, that when the other fundamentals are not in place, you're going to have crisis. And like in English language, there's what they call complex sentence. They say that complex sentence must start with connectives. So let me use Ayola Kazim as an example. Although Ayola is a short woman, but she loves playing basketball. Now, when you look at the introduction of that sentence, you see negatives, problems, but your attention is shifted from the height disadvantage of Ayola. You're now looking at Ayola playing basketball. If you say, although fuel prices has gone up, although electricity tariff has gone up, but the federal government has distributed solar panel package to 100 million households in Nigeria at 50% discount with a 5 years repayment period, you will discover that attention will be shifted from the current problem. Now, what are the causes of fuel scarcity in our country? Is mismanagement of supply arrangement. You know when your child is going to resume school is so much. You must plan how to pay the school fees. Yeah. So these are issues. When you look at the country, the same thing, you know, and that's why I like the word persistent. We've been having this fuel crisis for decades. And it is because of lack of proper planning or execution of the planning. Now, let's take a look at it. Number one, once people see that prices will change, then you begin to see queues in all petrol stations. And it shows that people are not patriotic. In Lagos, there are stations that are holding the PMS. Now, you also see panic buying as a problem. So, when you look at it, it's a complex situation. Patriotism is not there. Execution of plan is not there. In supply chain management, you know what quantity people are consuming, and you know that you have problem with your pipeline. You know that you have problem with your depots. Therefore, you must ensure that strategic measures are put in place to ensure that these things are available. And why is that important? Because you know that in this country, the alternatives are not yet in place. For any human being to survive in Nigeria today, he needs to have diesel or petrol if he doesn't have solar package in his house or offices. So I will not accept any excuse from the government on this. But at the same time, I have many Nigerians to blame for this. Why panic buying? Even at the risk of fire accidents in your homes. And then you now see that workers in petrol stations around the country are now taking advantage of the people. They're not going to sell to people who are on the queue on time, that the price has been hiked up there, and people bring a number of kegs. So the task force need to come out and ensure that if you need to power, because I heard that, at a particular NNPC station in Lagos, there was yesterday or 2 days ago, a ban on people coming to buy with a jerrycan. The truth is that somebody who need to power stuff in his house will have to buy with jerrycan.
The challenge of that also, Dr. Adeoye, my apologies for butting in, is it has also been seen to fuel the black market. They will buy in kegs and go to the sides of the road. And in fact, I think it was Friday, my colleague in Abuja who went to town and saw that the fuel station was locked. But around the fuel station, the black market was thriving. It was thriving, and they were selling at ridiculous prices. So that is perhaps one of the reasons. And of course, some task force officials will come, and if you are selling into kegs maybe even too much, you know, there is a risk of being shut down. But you know, having said all of that, you know, Dr. Adeoye, one of the challenges we've seen is that of communication. By the way, I know Ayola is going to come for you, but, you know, the challenge of communication from the NNPC, from the government officials, is right there. no one exactly, I mean, and you also mentioned it, and Dr. Opeifa has spoken to it, the fact that no one has spoken to Nigerians, giving Nigerians specific, you know, communication about what exactly is going on. Contact officials of government, no one wants to say anything. It is not that the media is not going to try, but we can't use a vacuum cleaner to suck out information from people. So right this moment, the queues are still there right now.
Miles long.
So what in your opinion, should who be saying to Nigerians now in different parts of the country?
Let me tell you this. If communication is not properly done by people who are responsible to do that, it is an opportunity recipe for you to get sacked from your job. Now, currently I'm in London, if you are in a train station, you are going to see notices to tell you that, oh, this line is not going to work on Saturday. There is going to be a delay between so time and so time. If you are going to Heathrow, you go through this line. Communication. So, I don't know. People should be fired immediately when you don't do your job. You should have told us what is going to happen in the next few days. And you tell us the measures you are putting in place and why people should not panic, because in the next few days, this is going to happen. Now, Dr. Opeifa is my elder brother and friend. He just gave you analysis of what has happened now, and you thank God you said he is part of them. Well, I may not agree with that. But when you see he spoke like the GMD of NNPC by telling us what has happened, 640, 641, the queue has reduced from 45% to this percentage and so on. Now, what that implied is that what he has just told us, he is actually not the right person to be telling us. But that underscored the fact that your statement that he is part of them. So he's doing his job very well. But I would say he should collect the salary of all of the major persons that are supposed to handle this communication for this month of April and May. Because Dr. Opeifa is now talking to us to let us know at Admiralty, this is what has happened. At Abuja, this is the price. The queue has reduced. It's now one lane. This is an emergency situation that should be communicated to citizens every day. And so when you wake up in the morning, you put on your TV or radio, you should be hearing officials of NNPC telling us not to worry, telling us, oh, right now, distribution is ongoing. If you go to AP, if you go to MRS, if you go to so place, you are going to find it. And
so since no one is saying that, my apologies again, Dr. Adeoye, since no one is, let me bring it to you, Dr. Opeifa, since nobody is saying, giving us all of this information, it leaves room, a lot of room for all kinds of things to go on. For instance, one of the comments that has come from the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria is that the federal government should speed up the processing of their licenses to sustain access to petroleum products. That the allegation is that, look, it is part of the reason for this scarcity we're going through now is because the authorities are holding back from renewing certain licenses. Yet no official of government has come out to confirm or refute that information. And this is directly affecting the supply as far as IPMAN is concerned.
Thank you. I hope you will allow me time to actually explain it, just like you allowed them. One, I'm not working for any of the agencies.
So you are not one of them?
I am my center. No, I am part of this government.
Okay.
And I'm proud of this government. And this government is doing well.
Okay.
And I can... So
you are confirming that you are one of them?
No, we are all part of this government. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We don't need to... let's go to the main issue. Just like he said, that's where I was trying to get to before you asked that we go online first. There are informations they said, NNPC said, you know, my center, I've been working on this matter since the time I was a commissioner in Lagos State. I also worked on this matter 2015, 2016 with the federal government.
That's almost 10 years ago.
And I also worked with them in 2017, 2018, and 2019 on this fuel distribution legislation. And our center has taken it upon us to make sure we dig down into it. We are into logistics and mobility management. Now, when they say logistics, the first thing Nigerians should understand what logistics means is that it is integration of information and transportation into the process of managing your supply chain mechanism. Now, when they said logistics, those stakeholders in the sector understands what they are talking about. They now said there is shortage, but they have made available adequate supplies. That's what Mr. Adeoye was responding to. When that kind of statement comes, the matter should now shift also to the citizens and the public on how to react. I agree. Information could be more. But information also, once this thing goes out, the media houses, the press will also face the main issue. And that's where I'm coming on the issue of Ipman. I've also interacted with Ipman's position. I've interrogated it. This is not the time to bring it up. You know why? You are going to create panic in the market. And when you create panic in the market, people will jack up their prices.
Who is bringing the issue up? Is it the NMDPRA or Ipman?
No, Ipman says they are having issues. You know, it's normal when you are in the activist or labor or whatever side of the story. You take advantage of things like this. But what it will do, it will aggravate the situation. One, there is adequate supply. Everybody in the industry, I mean, those in the stakeholders know that our inventory level was low and is now okay. When they say logistics, inventory control is part of logistics. Like I said, supply chain mechanism, the issue of warehousing, the issue of shipping, the issue of trucking, those are things that encompasses logistics. So if you break one, if your inventory level goes low for 1 day and you bring it back, you may take you 7 days to recover. That's the situation we're having. That's where I wanted to go. What you have is, you're having Dangote coming up, we are going to release product in May. You're having this one saying you have 35 modular refinery, all sort of things that are coming up. Now, suddenly one of your supplier breaks its chain. You are going to have low inventory. If you don't find a substitute, an alternate supplier to bridge that gap, you are going to suffer. Now, what you do, like I said, is you tell your consumers, this is the situation. In fairness to them, in fairness, NNPC came out, Meman came out, Major Energy, the former Moman, the ES came out, their chairman came out to speak. Ipman came out to speak. Dapman came out to speak. So the same issue. And NNPC kept saying they have 1.5 billion liters. That is for 30 days. And they have 300 immediate for distribution. That is for 4 or 5 days. Now, if they pump that into the market, they can never bridge the gap of the loss because everybody is now filling at full tank. So instead of us consuming 40 to 50 liters per day, under this situation, we will be consuming 60 million liters per day. So that will create panic. So what you need under this condition, when you say something is a logistics problem, same thing in the military, same in the medical field, when they have logistic issue, is to calm down the situation, address the logistics issue. You remember during the dirty fuel, I raised the same issue because they're going to do reverse logistics. Instead of us arguing who is wrong, who is right, simmer down, take that to the investigation, face the issue of supply chain and distribution management. And that is what we should focus now. And that is why I personally took it upon myself to find out what is going on at different places so that we can marry it. In Sokoto, Kano, and the rest, you will still have queues for some time. You know why? Because NNPC had concentrated the supply distribution to Lagos and Abuja, and it's strategic. That's where 40% of the consumers are. So you want to quickly wet those areas. Those are strategies. So what I think we need to do more is for them to communicate more with the public. These are the strategies we are using. People need not buy from the keg. Those are citizens' issues. You need not sell into the keg. You need not buy in the keg. When you get to queue up, we need to talk to states. When I was commissioner for transport in Lagos and in Abuja, whenever there is fuel crisis, you know what we do? We deploy men to fuel stations to manage the traffic. The petrol people cannot, the petrol station cannot manage the traffic. And at the end of the day, you have 2-3 lanes. That is confusion. Then they cannot sell well. I passed through Northwest. Fantastic. They were on 1 queue. So if you're on 1 queue, you will move faster. But when you go on 2-3 queues, you create another logistics situation. So my own point is this. We have identified the issue. We are now being told that we have enough supply. The people that should complain about supply are Meman, Ipman, Petron, and Dapman. Meman, the major marketer, says they have enough. Ipman is saying they should give them also more. And strategically, Ipman is around the fringes. Meman, Dapman, Meman and the others are within the city. They will wet the city first. It's a procedure. Yes. Eventually, it will now trickle down. That's why in Agege area, I told you what I saw were mainly Danfo and then the other thing is the transport system is not there, like I said. Those are the things that makes, it's not only in Nigeria that you have this kind of situation. You remember just a few months ago, America released from their strategic reserves.
But you know, there's another issue he raised, anyway, that Dr. Adeoye raised about alternatives. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. That's exactly what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Dr. Adeoye,
yes, please.
I believe that Nigerians, by and large, are getting tired of this persistent fuel scarcity. And they are looking forward to alternatives so that they will not have to go and sit in these queues for 7-8 hours to buy fuel. What alternatives do you think we could have? We've heard of CNG, and since last year we were hearing about CNG buses. We're going to flood the streets so that we can park our cars and go in those buses. If you ask me, many Nigerians would not mind parking their cars and taking those buses. But those buses are nowhere to be seen. Then, of course, there are electric cars. Where are we going to get electricity to charge the batteries of our cars? So we are stuck in this rut. We actually do not have any alternatives, or do we?
Well, first of all, let me just mention something about that communication that Dr. Opeifa talked about. We have multiplicity of communication channels, and that is also very wrong for a complex country like Nigeria. IPMA says this, MEMA says this, NNPC says this. So they should, we should have one communication channel to the public, so you know that every morning, afternoon, evening, you're going to hear authentic information, not one person saying this, that person saying this. That will ease the situation. On the alternatives, my recommendation to the federal government is to see how we can have solar package for MSME households. And I will take an example from what happened in the telecommunication industry. I recall the audit firm where I worked, 1998. Something will just happen. NITEL guys will just disconnect the line, and then you have to go. I remember one man, we have to go and meet at NITEL. You have to drop an envelope, do something, and then the wires are just using, and then they will come to fix this for you, and then you use it for like maybe 40 days, then something will happen again.
Of course.
Now, today, NITEL is gone because MTN came, Airtel, Vodacom, or all of them. And at the beginning, prices of SIM card was terrible. But today, SIM card is given almost for free. Now, if PACN or whoever is in charge of electricity knows that in my house, I don't bloody care whether you supply or not. I have access to light, I have access to watch my television, I can put on my fan, then you will buckle up to improve your supply. So in my view, the alternatives, which is the best green energy we can think of, is to say, let's supply household full package with discount. So you have batteries, you have charge controller, you have solar panel, and get it to household. This is something that is even happening in Canada, in the US and other places, even where they have enough energy. In South Africa today, they've been having issues of power supply, and right now, they invented lithium batteries. And so most offices are powered by solar panel. So this is something government must pay attention to.
My apologies, Dr. Adeoye. It's not a problem of incapacity. For instance, you know, Dr. Adeoye, Dr. Opeifa, maybe I should even come to you. You were talking about, this refinery is supposed to come on stream, that refinery is supposed to come on stream, and then we are waiting until whenever it'll happen. It was since last year that we have been told, and we are being told, that the Port Harcourt refinery was going to kick off by January. No one told us that there was such a thing as mechanical completion. Yes. So sometimes we economize information to the Nigerian, leaving us speculating. And before you know what is happening, you do what smokers would do, just pop off some smoke in some refinery, giving people the illusion that the refinery was functioning. Now, it was until later, just a second, sir, until later that we now, in fact, chemical engineers and everyone who knew about this whole process, including former managing directors of petroleum refineries in the country, came out to say it is not possible for the refineries to kick in by the time that the federal government was promising. This is May, right?
It is still not on stream.
We haven't heard that this refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery in particular, which is the one that was being talked about, was going to kick in. So, as Alero said, we are stuck, or aren't we? That's the question. You said that there is one refinery supposed to kick in, the other refinery is supposed to kick in.
Sorry. Let me say this. I'm not a chemical engineer, but I trained as a biochemist and a chemist in my undergraduate days. And the little I can tell you about, and I also have a degree in marketing, so I can talk about communication. So I can combine the two for you. Now, when a refinery comes on stream, there are mixtures of products. Notice all the modular refineries, none of them is producing PMS. Have you noticed it?
Yes.
Watersmith and the rest of them. They are all producing AGO and jet fuel.
Yeah.
The process for making those ones are not as difficult as PMS. That's number one. Number two, their capacity will not meet the market. So we still import. So what is government doing? Government keeps importing until Dangote kicks off. Dangote was commissioned. When you commission a refinery, I was just on the platform, this argument was going on, just by experts, is that the first thing you kick off with are the distillates that are easy to produce. And when you start producing them, you don't get to the maximum efficiency until after a time. That's what Dangote probably is going on. But about communication, Dangote is communicating.
I'm not talking about communication. Just a second.
No, about what is going on.
I'm not talking about Dangote. I'm talking about the federal
government of Nigeria. I'm going there.
Only because
just wait.
This particular product is centralized.
Just let me go on. Now, you have the Port Harcourt refinery. They told us mechanical, something completed or one is coming on. Then we've heard about the issue of licensing. And Dangote too is facing issue of licensing. These are standards that we have to fulfill under quality control. But you see, we need to, that's why I wanted to make it clear what logistics is all about. Because when they say logistics, Nigeria just thought is the trucks cannot move. It's beyond that. It's more complex. The only thing we have not been told directly is what it is. But some people have come to say mother and daughter vessel. The fuel is on the IC. You need to get it out. And it's becoming difficult to get out. We've also heard the fact that some of those refineries in Europe went on turnaround maintenance. Now, I'll give you a practical example. I was involved in 2015, 2016, when the government couldn't move fuel out of Opeifa. They were moving on 100 trucks a day, and Nigeria needs 800 trucks a day. Sure. I was involved. Within 72 hours, we cleared and we were moving 400. And within 2 weeks, we started moving 800. What happened? That was gridlock, unrelated to fuel distribution, but it affected fuel distribution. So we just need to go to the unions and plead it, and we cleared the way. Now, this is what I also observed. The issue of, at the point, there was a vessel coming up, big 60 million liters truck, and somebody needs to clear in the Nigerian Navy, and he was off shift. So the next person says he won't do it until the next day, just because, they have their own protocol. And if they don't do it, it's going to affect the supply and the trucker.
The chain.
So I was called, because I was working as a consultant to them to clean the logistics problem. I had to get as far as chief of naval staff or somebody there for them to break the protocol and get the thing quickly done so that the fuel could be discharged to OVH in Opeifa so that it can go in the morning. So these are logistics issues. If you have a single window, it will have been signed online. But we are not operating single window as of that time. So these are some of the challenges you face when you talk of logistics and supply chain management. The same thing in the Ukraine war. The same thing in the military. The same thing in the hospital. During COVID, remember, immediately after COVID, prices of shipping went up. There were no containers in the world because the company manufacturing container based in China had shut down and is not resuming. And because of that, prices... So these are, up to today, the transport sector, the logistics sector is yet to recover from COVID and Ukraine war and that accident that happened in the Suez Canal. So these logistic situations can change this. However, I agree with you, it's communication. But that communication also involves all of us who have the facts. We should be able to put the facts in a way that it will not cause disruption. Now, on the issue of different people speaking, please, I'm not speaking for any agency because I'm close to all of them. Meman, Dapman, have spoken the same way with NNPC. Ipman has not spoken much difference. They only say it is 2 weeks. NNPC say it is 1 week. But when I went deep into what they are talking, NNPC is saying Lagos and Abuja will be over within 1 week. You get it? Ipman is saying the entire thing will be over in 2 weeks, knowing that that is when they will be able to get adequate supply to meet the interland. I don't want to blame anybody. Like it's my own attitude in handling this kind of logistics issue. It's not about blame. It's to see that like he said, the alternatives. That's why you have the PC, you have the CNG. And I just want to address the issue because I know what is going on there. I take personal interest. Our institute, because it's about mobility and access development, take personal interest to know what is going on. We are aware. You cannot bring CNG vehicle into Nigeria on the shelf. It has to be procured. It has to be manufactured. They don't start manufacturing until you pay full payment. But now, let me land so that I can get it. Now, the vehicles are on their way. They've shown you assembly
the
of some of them in Nigeria.
The challenge is back to communication.
Exactly. That's where I was going. We saw some being sprayed.
Let me land, please. So what we need to just let people know is that this program is a medium to long-term plan.
We should be telling Nigerians
this program is short to medium-term plan. I am also aware by the 15th of May, a major stakeholder meeting is holding on the CNG. And many have been going on around in the country. So I'm not holding. Like alternatives. There need to be energy mix. And that is why the CNG and electric issue is very critical for mobility. We cannot rely for too long on one kind of fuel. We now need vehicles that are biofuel. The world is changing to electric.
You know, there is something that you said earlier, Dr. Opeifa. You spoke about the fact that one person didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Who is that?
About a naval officer who was off shift.
Yes, who was supposed to
sign. He wasn't wrong.
I agree.
No.
But the point is, one person and disrupted
lives of millions.
Would have.
Doing the right thing. He was doing the right thing by not signing.
No, the point I'm making is it is just one individual. So in my opinion, and I've said this countless times, when we talk about government, I always decrypt it to just one person not doing what he or she was supposed to do at any given time. All of this information that you have given us now, we are taking them, but they are coming late. This thing, as Alero said earlier,
I got them from the media.
These things that you're talking about is about 2 weeks old. Someone should have told Nigerians 3 days before this whole thing started that, hey, guys, this might happen.
This might
happen.
Yeah,
just as Dr. Adeoye was telling us, that this thing might happen. And in the event that this thing happens, this is what is likely to come out of it. No one is talking to Nigerians. That is the one that is pissing many people off.
I agree with you.
Let me just ask Dr. Adeoye. Dr. Adeoye, what Dr. Opeifa has just said about CNG vehicles not being what you can buy off the shelf.
Of course,
they
that's true.
take time. Wouldn't that cause people to think, what was the president then thinking when he just on the 29th of May just tossed in subsidies are gone, when no plans had been made to cushion the effects of subsidy? 1 year on, we don't have a single CNG bus on the road.
No, we have so many.
Where are they?
Okay.
Ogun State has.
Well, we don't see any in Lagos.
Government has.
Oh, okay. And that's enough for 200,
Lagos has.
200 million Nigerians?
I just want to correct the statement that we don't have a single.
Okay. There are some on the road. Unfortunately, we don't see them because they're not enough to move us around.
Alero, let me say 2 things. Number 1, patriotism is an issue in Nigeria. And you have layers of people having something to do about the country. The president is not going to travel and be inspecting factories where these things have been manufactured. And I want to also say that there are certain individuals who are sabotaging this country, the economy, who do not want the president to succeed. The board will punish all of them. So let me leave that aside. Because even this fuel scarcity you're talking about, some people want us to have problems, perpetually in crisis. You understand me now? So you see certain things that are counterproductive, that are coming on the stream in the country. And then you then wonder, this is not the posture of the president that is in power. So the president made a statement in recent times where he said that if we do not remove subsidy, Nigeria will have become bankrupt by now. Yep. Fantastic. We believe that. Without the removal of fuel subsidy, people will keep importing, bringing papers, vessels without petroleum products coming into the country. Now, I spoke to some bankers. If you go to check, as soon as subsidy was removed, the number of requests for foreign exchange to import PMS reduced significantly, which shows that round-tripping activities were going on. So it borders on patriotism. And look at it. We've been having this crisis in Nigeria now about shortage of supply. National Orientation Agency, are they sleeping? Are they still alive? Is that agency working? What are the things that you are rolling out in different languages in the country about how we should behave ourselves, about why you should not take 10 kegs to petrol station, how you risk your life on radio, in Yoruba, in Hausa, in Ibibio, in different language, Fufude, or all the languages. What are they doing? No communication. So I would say that we have a network of dangerous human beings who do not want Nigeria to move forward, who are trying day and night to sabotage the government so they can say, oh, the president did not do well. Like I said earlier, anyone who is working against the progress of Nigeria, who wants this government to fail, permit me to say that, like I'm speaking on behalf of the government now, that God will punish all of them and wipe them out of this country, the enemies of Nigeria. And there are many powerful people who do not want the country to move forward. So everything borders on patriotism. Communication you're talking about, patriotism, love for the people. So I know Dr. Opeifa does not like to mention it. Can you see how he was trying to tell Ayo that he didn't say that any naval officer did not perform? He was just saying that they needed to. He's a very careful person, I know, because he's in government. But I am saying, as an advocate of the people, that all the people that are causing problems in Nigeria, he knows them too. He just doesn't want to mention their names.
And he doesn't want to say that God will punish all of them. We understand that. Well, yes, you wanted to take some comments.
Oh my God. This is from Femo Dibanj. Please, I disagree with your guess that people don't need to buy in the jerry can these days of persistent blackouts. I saw a video where people brought their gen sets to buy fuel, and I consider this very odd.
That's not the only thing, Femi. I saw one, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, where the guy came to the fuel station with the fuel tank of his bike.
Oh.
I also saw another one of a fuel, I've seen several times, the fuel tank of the generator. They just bring that one to the, but hey, you know what? There's this one also by Tola, says, persistent fuel crisis. Generally, Nigerians are used to telling people what not to do, rather than telling us what we need to do to manage the crisis. The result is everyone starts to act inappropriately, thinking they are solving the problem. You have another one.
Skittish money. I believe we need crisis management and response training in all our MDAs. I suspect it is from lack of respect for people we're supposed to serve.
This is an email from Sam. Says, things are not easy for Nigerians. After queuing for hours, I was charged 2,000 naira.
Oh dear.
Additionally, before I was able to buy fuel at a filling station in Jakonde, Lekki, yesterday, scarcity led to exploitation. I saw another video. Did you see that video where they said that the guy was lamenting that? They said that you must buy meat pie.
before you buy fuel. Meat pie.
It isn't funny. The guy was lamenting like, you have to buy. Well, in fact, at some point I thought that was his skit. But
okay,
apparently.
Dr. Adeoye.
Yes, please.
All this persistent, I keep referring to that word, persistent fuel crisis, will also be leading people to now think, okay, so subsidy has been removed. Where is the money saved going? Dr. Opeifa mentioned earlier, moribund pipelines were moving
vandalized
fuel through trucks, which shouldn't be. So is that money going to alternative ways for us to manage this industry so that we do not see this persistent fuel crisis?
Well, I can only speak in form of recommendation. Since I do not have the balance sheet and the statement of account of the federal government from subsidy removal. So one of the things that we recommended to government is, yes, procure CNG buses and other transport measures, purchase more trains, construct more rail lines so that you can move people en masse, and that will reduce transportation cost. But what I discovered from June of 2023, which I have reservation about, is that there is a sudden increase in the allocation of the federal government and the state government, which means that people are now earning more at state level, and you do not see the effect on the people. So federal government should not dash what we save from subsidy to state governors, just like that. We were sharing 600 billion before. Now we're sharing over 1 trillion every month. The federal government should take the bull by the horn and address all of the issues that we need to tackle so that life can be easy for Nigerians.
Well,
so that's a recommendation
all
that
right.
I can.
Dr. Opeifa, one attempt that you've been trying to make all morning, which is actually very, very admirable and respected, is what should the people be doing now? Responding to one of the comments that we have here. Don't panic is what we hear. So if you don't want us to panic, what do we do? That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I know that this is not your call, and you have done a yeoman's job trying to let people understand exactly what is going on. But what should happen to those who are supposed to give information, but literally are miserly with the information they're supposed to give to people?
Permit me to say this. As far as I'm concerned, all the information I have is from the public media. So I believe China has more information than I do. When I watched the executive secretary of MEMAN, Mr. Isong, and their chairman, it was on channels. When I watched Ipman speak, it was on another major channel like yours, not channels. I also listened to Mr. Rewane Bismarck on your business news when he was talking about diesel. It was on channels. And I also follow Business Day, who reports these issues pertaining to this on a daily basis. And you see about 2 or 3, 4 articles. So what I'm trying to say is this, is we have to do more to make sure the thing, like I said, trickles down to all the other normal media and abnormal medias, so that people can understand in simple terms what is happening, so that they can adjust. And what should people do? We must, if people will not maintain a queue, pending the time the thing subsides, the traffic management agencies in every state, the state governors, must ensure they are deployed, not people carrying weapons. Non-weapon officer. If they are going to be police officer, they must not carry any weapon, any leather weapon, to go and manage the queue. Then for those selling in jerry can, it has to be managed somehow, so that it doesn't disrupt, because they genuinely needs to buy in jerry can. You can't stop them. Otherwise, they will bring the generator, which is very inhuman. However, nobody should be allowed to sell in jerry can. But unfortunately, they are selling right by the petrol retail store in the open. So if nobody is selling in jerry can, the vehicles on the queue will move faster. Now, another reason why we are moving slowly in the queue now is because we are now using POS. When we used to pay cash, it's faster.
Yeah.
Now it takes network, I bought fuel, and I had to come and pay the next day because the network did not work, but they obliged me because...
Only because they knew you.
The third thing is this, the stakeholders need to meet so that they all be on the same page. And those who want to take advantage of this situation, don't forget, this is the first time since this government of Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in that we are going to have this kind of crisis. And it's a long time people sold fuel at exorbitant, they made arbitrage. Now some people are hell-bent, like you said, just to make enough money. Now the PIA is on now. 2021, I believe. The PIA has deregulated the downstream. Believe me, I monitor mobility and access issues. With the modular refineries coming up, with Dangote coming up, all things being equal, we will suddenly, towards December, getting out of this PMS debacle.
On a permanent basis?
Yeah, because even if Dangote imports the crude, don't forget we are still having problem with our crude. It's another issue. I listed all these to mention. As long as we cannot meet 2.0 million barrels per day, we're going to have problems supplying the... So what is hindering us? People are sabotaging, people are punching pipe. The network of a pipeline, we have to find a way to be able to pump fuel, not only from Lagos.
Permit me to
we must be able to pump fuel.
Permit me to butt in quickly, Dr. Opeifa. Is it that we don't know these oil thieves?
No.
Is it that we don't know these oil vandals? Just as you said, the governors are in the states. I still have a problem in my head. though, that the federal government is the one in authority over petroleum-related issues, but the petroleum infrastructure are in the states, and the states will tell you that they can't do anything to even protect.
Everybody, including you, the media, too, including you, the media.
Let's begin with the people who have authority, executive authority to do something.
What I'm saying is that the government, the people, must stop making two queues. No, the nozzle will not go into.
No, I'm talking about you talked about the crude oil that have been vandalized here and there. The states are where this infrastructure are. There are those that say that they are moribund wellheads or whatever it is, that they are not anywhere.
I don't know about crude oil matter.
Dr. Opeifa, the queues at the filling station. The big man wants to buy fuel. He goes with his pilot car. Fuel. He disrupts the queue. He goes in and he buys his fuel. So he doesn't care that you queue for 6 hours.
I don't think
because he doesn't.
It doesn't happen during this kind of situation.
It does.
Are you still okay? Let's get to solutions.
It does.
Let's get to solutions.
I saw
my own approach. When the dirty fuel came up, we're arguing on who is the solution to this thing is that all agencies of government should do what they need to do. Wet the town, wet the streets, wet the petrol stations with products. Let there be product and let our stations be protected to sell. The complaint of Ipman that they are not getting products, let's find a way to send some products to them too, so that they can also manage.
Let's begin.
Any station that sells above the actual price, Nigerians should just send a text message to the FCCPC or whatever.
Who is going? Anyway, take these comments you have.
Angel Tunde says...
That's my friend.
Oh, no wonder. He says, special greetings to Dr. Opeifa. Well, he says, I want the federal government to place a total ban on black market sellers during fuel scarcity. How can just one woman carry 11 gallons of 25 liters, all in the name of business? This is very risky.
Okay.
Just let me just correct you. You see, if we have this kind of mindset, let me correct you. Angel Tunde is the editor of environmental EPL, those guys in Lagos that monitors environmental transport issues, and I'm on the same platform with him. They are more concerned, they take records, and that's why I took interest in their side. It was started by Omorodion, who is now dead, who is now, he died about 2 years ago. If you get on that platform, they discuss all these issues, and they talk from the point of patriotism.
Okay.
And that's just the plain truth. All of us have the road to
Jerry Joseph also has this one. Government officials should desist from taking passive actions when things happen, and accountability should be taken seriously. And I think that's part of the point that Dr. Adeoye was making about people taking responsibility. We understand that. Okay, to you, Dr. Adeoye, in the event that some people do not take responsibility and take appropriate action as they should, what should be the consequence? Because there are those who would say the process that we have now is because some people didn't take action and didn't take responsibility.
Look, this little thing that has happened in Nigeria to tarnish the presidency of, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if it has happened in other places, by now, some people will have read in the news that they have been sacked.
Yeah.
So you hire and you fire. Look, people cannot just continue to mess us up and mess up the president. You just fire them. Just tell the Ajuri Ngilale to announce that the president has approved the removal of so person, 3 or 4 people, scapegoat, you remove them, everybody sit tight. Somebody is bringing PMS into the country. One man is trying to collect bribe and is not allowing the vessel to bath so that we can have relief. And then you just hear about it, remove him, suspend this one, hire, fire. People will sit tight. What is happening in the West is that there are consequences for sabotaging the country. Thank God that Dr. Opeifa also agree. You are sabotaging the economy. The refinery that is not working, we've spent billions of naira, if not dollars, to fix it. Get the people that are involved, those that are still there, sack them, prosecute them for what they have done. And you will see peace in the country. Okay. Petrol stations who are selling 25 kegs to people, sanction them, close them, put NNPC guys to begin to sell their product.
Dr. Adeoye, we have to go now, so I would like your last word, please.
My last word is still patriotism. Before God, we deal with those sabotaging the economy. The president should deal with them by himself.
Okay.
Sack some people, fire them, and remove them. Some people suspend them. Let proper people be in charge, and let there be proper communication. You have National Orientation Agency. We're not hearing anything. Somebody is carrying 25 kegs of PMS. People are hoarding this product to punish the citizen.
Okay.
So we need to act speedily.
Okay. Dr. Proffer.
Yeah, on the issue of patriotism, I think we need to, all of us, using the instrument of our agencies and cooperation, send the message out to Nigerians. We need to be, when you have crisis situation at hand, you need to, one, listen to the facts. The facts on the ground is that there is product. All we need to be is to be orderly. It will take some time. We should do that. That's number one. Number two, those who need to talk should talk. Then number three, the media should also take extra patriotic step to make sure that they also join in this crusade.
Thank you very much. I like that part about those who need to talk should talk. Those who need to give us information, those who need to communicate with us, please do.
And stakeholders, let me laugh, stakeholders should cooperate with government to make sure we get out of this very fast.
Okay. Please communicate with us.
But coordinated communication. Coordinated communication.
Okay. We had two doctors as our guests this morning, Dr. Adeoye, who joined us from London via Zoom, a chartered accountant and a legal practitioner, as well as Dr. Opeifa, Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming to look at this issue with us this morning. Sunrise will return in just a moment. Do stay with us.